and welcome to Inner Circle Guidance. Today we're going to be doing a collective reading, but for those of you who are new to the circle, hello and welcome. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I post new videos every single day, and if you're looking for daily short tarot readings, check out my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or YouTube Shorts. If you're looking for personal services or personal readings, I offer them through my website, innercircleguidance.com. Let's find out what the circle needs to know today. We have the Six of Wands. We have the Six of Cups. Interesting. We have the Two of Wands. We have the Page of Swords. We have the Three of Wands. And we have the Ten of Cups. All right. So the Ten of Cups has to do with fulfillment. And it has to do with happiness and different relationships in different areas of your life. Now, what I'm seeing here is that some of you are either struggling with a certain piece of this, or you are in the process of coming through a spiritual awakening or a new understanding or shifting things in order to align to having more fulfillment in the different areas of your life. And this also has to do with getting the recognition that you deserve and the recognition that you desire. Because the Ten of Cups and the Six of Wands both have to do with victories. But what I'm seeing here is some of you have gotten a little caught up in the planning aspects of things. So the Page of Swords has to do with communication, and it has to do with truth. What I'm seeing here, because it's interesting, we have the Two of Wands on one side and we have the Three of Wands on the other. So there's this sort of truth and this action that needs to be taken between these two sides. Now, the Two of Wands often has to do with focus. It can sometimes have to do with travel or with expansion. It can be choosing between two different ideas or two different situations, two different people, or two different opportunities. The Three of Wands is being able to kind of see the castle in the distance and trying to figure out exactly what steps in order to get there. Three is also the number of supreme balance between mind, body, and spirit, between the different duality energies that we have within ourselves. And so you're probably going, okay, Blake, get to the point here. The truth between these two energies has to do with the way you perceive perfection. So a lot of victories in your path, I can't talk today. A lot of victories in your past. If you go and you look back at the things that you did in your life that you're proud of, the successes that you had, the victories that you had, it was usually because you took some sort of action. Now, I said there was a truth between two different energies, between planning and between actually taking action and going and taking the next step. What I'm seeing here is some of you need to forgive yourselves, because I'm seeing that some of you feel like you're sort of behind from where you're supposed to be, either in your relationships, either you feel like you're behind in, let's say you have this idea that you were supposed to be married or in a healthy, happy relationship by a certain time in your life or a certain age, or you felt like you should be in a certain place or a certain happiness in your career level by this time. You need to forgive yourself for that energy, because I'm seeing that part of the issue from your past is that you got caught up in the I keep wanting to say perception. And that's why perception is such a strong word in this reading, but perfection. In your perception of perfection. There we go. Oftentimes, especially if you're a creative or you're an entrepreneur, we get sort of caught up in this idea that in order to be successful, we have to be perfect. We think that our Instagrams have to be perfectly curated. We think that we have to have our hair and our nails perfectly done if we're women. Men, you think you have to wear suits or you have to wear expensive watches in order to be successful. There's sort of this idea of kind of what is considered perfect and our perception of what that is. But if you look back on your past, the way that you were able to move forward and the way that you were able to elevate, which is what this Two of Wands is about, and able to grow, whether it was growing your business or growing your relationship with the different people in your life or whatever it is, was through vulnerability and through things being good enough that you were able to either release that thing into the world. So let's say if you were a creative person and you're a writer, you were able to release the project when you felt good enough to the public to get some sort of reaction. Or if it had to do with family and it had to do with relationships, you were able to present yourself in a more authentic way to where you are showing those people in your life that you do have flaws and you are vulnerable about that and you do have things that maybe aren't perfect and they loved you anyways. So your relationship was able to grow. Some of you are working on new projects, or you are stepping into this new chapter where you're gonna have to step out of your comfort zone in order to usher in some of the abundance and miracles and blessings that are gonna be part of this chapter for you. But make sure you've learned your lessons from the past. Now, I talk about this a lot, and the people who know me really well always laugh because they know I say this all the time. You have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Being good enough is more perfect than perfection. And the reason I say that is perfection comes from fear. It comes from needing outside validation. It comes from insecurity. Being good enough comes from a place of power, and it comes from a place of confidence, because you can be the next Martin Scorsese of the film industry. But if you're too afraid to put your projects out there, it doesn't matter how good you are, nobody's gonna see them. It's the same as you could be the best mother in the world, but if you don't teach your children that, hey, sometimes people make mistakes, then you may come to find that your children resent you because they think you expect them to be a certain way or whatever. This idea of perfectionism and breaking down the perception you have of that is going to be important to your overall success and your overall fulfillment, because perfectionism also indicates this idea and mentality that you or whatever it is you're doing is not good enough. It's a lack of self-worth. So if you want to elevate your personal happiness and you want to elevate to this next level of emotional fulfillment, part of learning how to do that is learning to accept that sometimes good enough is more perfect than perfection. Sometimes things are good enough and that's as much energy as you should put into it. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't keep on trying to elevate, or you may not want to keep continuing to evolve and be a better version of whatever that is, or to achieve a better version of whatever it is. But you have to remember that things happen in cycles. So for example, let's say you're writing a script for, let's just say, a television pilot. It's the easiest way for me to think about it. That television pilot, the whole concept and the whole reason why you do that project is so that you write it, you edit it, you release it, that project's done, you move on to the next project. If you are becoming such a perfectionist that you are staying in that project and you are not doing anything else, then you are not growing. If you keep on staying in cycles or staying in things for longer than their expiration date, or longer than they're meant to continue on, then you're wasting a lot of energy and you're not actually going to succeed. You're not actually going to grow. You're not actually going to evolve. Everything has a cycle and a season. And so as you move forward, regardless of whether it's a specific project that you're working on, or it's the way that you view yourself and your successes, you need to come to more of an understanding that perfection is not the answer. And it's funny because we always get told that we need to be the best, especially in America. We get told you have to make good grades, you have to go to school, you have to do these things. There's so many people who didn't go that route. For example, Sophia Amoruso dropped out of high school and she's a billionaire who's owned multiple companies. She also got herself in a lot of trouble when she was younger because she was kind of a rebel. The way you perceive perfection and the way you perceive your self-worth should have more to do with whether or not you feel happy with what you're doing. But also remember that when you are having to step out of your comfort zone and do things that you haven't done before, or go places you've never been. Part of that is going to mean that there's going to be a little bit of an evolution to not only your authenticity in that situation, but also an evolution of what is or isn't good enough. So let's go back to the script idea here for a second. That script may be good enough to release. It may not be your best work you've ever done, but it might be good enough for that particular project. For all you know, the next script that you write could be the award-winning 12-season television show, Shonda Rhimes level success that you've been looking for. But if you're so caught up in this particular project that you don't even get to that one, you're gonna miss out. You're gonna delay the things that you're meant to do. So you need to work on redefining your perception of perfection. You need to start realizing and understanding when you should continue to put your energy into things and when you should stop putting your energy and decide this is good enough, let's move on. And that's going to be pivotal in this particular thing that you are working on right now, but also in your life moving forward. So this is your reading, and if it resonated with you, don't forget to like this video. Your affirmation for this reading is good enough is more perfect than perfection. And as always, may your life be full of light, full of love, abundance, and gratitude. I'll see you next time.